I have prepared a deck to help us get through the meeting today. So I'm going to go ahead and share that. So please let me know when you're able to see the first page of the deck. Has it come up yet? Anyone see the deck?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you. Okay, excellent. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for taking time from your busy schedules for this very important topic and meeting. As you know, there have been attempts to address in-stream flow in the past that, while well-intended, have not sufficiently addressed the situation we're at today. I've held many interviews as part of a conflict assessment to identify major stakeholders needed to support this action team. I've also had a chance to meet with each of you prior to today's meeting to get a preliminary idea of your concerns and ideas on this topic and to develop an agenda for today's monumental call. As we have only today's meeting to come to a consensus on an action plan to address Long River's in-stream flow challenges, I've sent you preparation materials covering the meeting rules, setting the context for our call, and laying out team concerns, in-stream issues, and options with the necessary expectation that you have reviewed these materials and are ready for action. So I've also compiled a presentation deck, as you can see, and some option tables that I believe will help facilitate today's discussions and decision-making processes. Please know we are at a go, no-go point. If you're familiar with that term, with regards to our ability to shape a plan that addresses these issues. After today's meeting, if we're not able to work collaboratively with each other to come up with the best possible solution, it's likely that the in-stream flow policies will be made for us by federal agencies and courts, perhaps with little input from local stakeholders. So let's make the best use of our time today, working together and being creative to address priorities while making concessions on lesser points as needed for the good of the whole. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So we will start with, I'll show you the agenda in a moment. So we're going to make this quick, 30-second introductions. So please state your title and your role and share in one sentence your goal for today's meeting. I'll start with myself. I have met you previously, but just for the sake of the guests that we have on the call, my name is Tom Kalfas. I am the mediator for today's session. My goal is to help facilitate this team as best I can to get past sticking points and get us to an action plan we all feel comfortable with moving forward. Okay, with that, let's go to I'm going to do top down by order of appearance here. So our water supplier representative.
Hello, my name is Lena. I'm your regional water supply representative, and my goal today is to maintain and enhance the water supply. So that's what's most important to me, and help come to a consensus with that.
Excellent. Thank you, Lena. We'll go next to our Environment Recreation Coalition.
Hi, my name is Lola. I'm the representative for the Environment Recreation Coalition. My goal is to protect ecosystem values for fisheries and recreational opportunities, and therefore there should not come a new service impoundments. All future development projects should be conditions, and the only way to enforce these agreements is via an adaptive approach with local input and state enforcements.
Excellent, thank you. We'll move next to our Governor's Special Assistant.
Hi, my name is Michaela. I'm the Governor's Special Assistant, and my goal today is to help local watershed groups produce sound in-stream flow plans while balancing the interest of all water users.
Excellent, thank you. We'll move next to our Irrigators Group representative.
Hi, my name is Maz Hussein. I am the Irrigators Group representative, and I'm here to talk about responsible farming and how we can balance our economic needs as well as taking care of the environment.
Great, thank you. Next, we'll go to our State Department of Fish.
Hi, my name is Branton. I'm here representing the State Department of Fish and Wildlife. My main priority is basically just to be mindful of biodiversity and our wildlife and make sure that we are keeping them in mind.
Excellent, thank you. And missing on the call today is our representative from the local tribe. We've been empowered to move forward with an action plan, and we will be certain to include them in on the review and finalization of the action plan and any decisions we make today. Okay. So first, establishing some ground rules. Due to the lack of time that we have to get everything done, we do want to have one voice at a time on the call, so please speak only when recognized. Use Zoom's raise hand feature if you have a point that you'd like to make or a question. And then I, with assistance from some others, will make sure that your voice is heard. Please be succinct. We have a lot to cover. Avoid any personal attacks. Not that I expect that to happen. I think we're all committed towards getting an action plan in place and recognize that we will need to make some concessions perhaps in order to see that happen. The third item here, everyone will represent their organizations and consider all proposals. So again, on the side of making concessions where need be. We know that you're representing your organizations and you have priority items that you really want to make sure are taken care of. And then some other items that might be, by comparison, lesser priorities or lower priorities, where you may have some more room to negotiate or allow for some flexibility. And then finally, everyone will be responsible for taking whatever agreement we make or reach back to their organization and facilitate final approval within your organization. Any question on the ground rules before we get started? Okay. So our agenda, we've covered the first two items, the opening statements, the ground rules. We'll be moving next to first pass of each issue. Then we'll move to mediator's initial package proposal, followed by a group discussion and package revisions, and concluding remarks and way forward if all goes well. Okay, now moving into issue discussion. As I mentioned in my introduction in the start of this call, I have had the opportunity to meet with you separately or prior to this meeting to get a better understanding of your concerns and priorities to a degree. What I've done to help facilitate this meeting is I've documented those and put them onto the slide deck to help visually carry us forward in the discussion. Now, we are not tied into that per se, but if we do need to flex a bit and spend some more time on discussion where it's warranted, please let me know if we need to slow down, if we have any specific points that need to be addressed. So now moving into the first issue, the in-stream flow goals. And we're going to spend approximately, we have 4 of these issues to cover. We're going to try to do so within 5 minutes to spend 20 minutes on this. Okay, so the first issue, before we can agree to a plan, we need to clarify priorities for the river from each of the organizations and team members on the call. Based on the confidential discussions with all parties, the following options have been identified. Maintain and enhance the water supply, option 1. Option 2, protect subsistence fishery. And option 3, restore the ecosystem to ensure robust fishery. Now, I'm not going to go through all the details because these have been in your materials. So you should be familiar with each of these options, and we'll move forward into the next slide. Now, again, based on the conversations that I've had with each of you, I've put the feedback or my take from those conversations into this table. So the stakeholder represented on the leftmost column, and then on the right columns for each of the options, with based again on the conversations we had, whether those options seem acceptable to you or not. Now, this was my take from those meetings. I may have captured everything correctly. I may not have. So as we go, what we'll do is we'll go around the virtual room here by stakeholder and make sure that you have an opportunity to speak to the notes that I've captured here. So feel free to agree or disagree, and I'll do my best to capture this in the notes as we move forward. Okay, so starting with regional water supplier.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. So our personal opinion here is that we do want to maintain and enhance the water supply. Municipal water use is of the greatest importance to us. We need certainty with regard to the supply of water that will be available in the future.
Okay, and I have not, and I'm operating the screen here, so it's making it a little difficult to move back and forth between documents. But,
Gotcha.
so the option 1, 2, and 3 that I've captured here, does that accurately reflect your position on each of those options?
It absolutely does. Thank you so much.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Irrigators, the same for you. Can you take a look at the options and my interpretation from our conversation? And does that accurately reflect your opinion?
Yeah, it accurately represents it. If there's tweaks to option 1 and 2, as stated in the parentheses, I think we can make it work.
Okay. All right, good. Environmental and Recreational Coalition, can you please confirm the same?
Well, for us, the option 1 is really unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And as far as option 2 and option 3 are concerned?
Yeah, those are acceptable.
Okay. All right. So I will note option 1 for environment unacceptable. And can you share a little bit more on what has made it unacceptable to you?
Well, the option is not really an option for us because it doesn't really improve anything. The top priority for us is to maintain the flow, and if we maintain it for how it is now, then that's not going to happen.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Fish and game.
Yes, option 1 we also have found to be unacceptable because with option 1 there's going to be more take from the river, and this is like not going to conserve wildlife at all, and it's just going to leave no space to have conservation and abundance, which is really what we're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the option 2 and 3, are those accurate?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. And then finally, Governor's Special Assistant.
I would say that options 1, 2, and 3 are all acceptable. And then in regards to option 3, it just may not be realistic, but with revisions, it is acceptable.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to our next issue. And keeping track of time here, I want to make sure that we're going in about 5 minutes for each of these. I think we're pretty close. Okay, now issue 2 is the strategies for increasing in-stream flows. So once again, looking for confirmation, the options again here are for number 1, water demand management. Option 2, new storage and off-stream service impoundment, including water demand management. Option 3, market mechanisms, including water demand management. And option 4, restrictions, including water demand management again, and market mechanisms. And similarly, I've taken my notes and put them into this table here. And once again, want to make sure that we have accurately captured your take on each of the options. So regional water supplier,
Option 3 would be unacceptable for us, but besides that, I think it's all right.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Irrigators,
Yeah, option 4 would be not acceptable for us.
okay. And environmental and recreational coalition,
Yeah, it's all fine.
okay. State Department of Fish and Game,
Yes, this record is accurate.
okay. And Governor's Special Assistant,
Everything is acceptable.
okay. All right, good, thank you. So we'll be revisiting these as we get to consideration of packages. The third issue, future development. Here we're looking at 2 options, condition all future projects, and option 2, screen all future projects. And so I guess it's just a little bit more scrutiny involved in one option over the other in approving the projects. Okay, so once again, regional water supplier, all of these, I have all of these as acceptable with perhaps some conditions in parentheses. So any objections to what you see on the screen?
No objections. Thank you.
Okay, good, thank you. Irrigators,
Everything looks fine.
okay, thank you. Environmental and Recreational Coalition,
Yeah, looks fine.
okay, good. State Department of Fish and Game,
It looks great.
okay, and Governor's Special Assistant.
Everything's good.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, the fourth and final issue, enforcement. So again, only 2 options for this one. Condition all future projects, screen all future projects. But I think I have a duplicate here on this slide, so apologies for that. The options are actually federal enforcement, state enforcement, and then the third option, local voluntary agreement to protect in-stream flow. So once again, regional water supply.
This looks good. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you. Irrigators,
Looks good.
Environmental and Recreational Coalition,
Looks good.
State Department of Fish and Game,
Option 3 is unacceptable unless there is some kind of agreement against solely voluntary.
One second, let me make sure I'm capturing that correctly. It's 4. All right, so one more time as I was writing notes here. So did you say option 3?
Yes, I said it a little weird, but it would be preferable not to rely solely on voluntary agreements due to lack of like regulations.
Okay, so currently unacceptable.
Correct.
All right, and then governor's assistant.
Everything looks good.
Okay. All right, good. Well, thank you for that confirmation. Okay, so what I had done, after capturing those notes for each of the options, and I'll need to make some corrections here as we move into this next slide, is to come up with a package proposal based on the feedback from each of you. Logically, where we have acceptable across the board for each of the options, that becomes the most acceptable, most likely package. Now with the changes, this will change a bit, but you can see on this screen where I was going. So we have the issues across the top with the votes coming in. You see in parentheses within each cell, if it was deemed acceptable, how many votes of the 6 team members that I had spoken to, and whether or not we have the governor's assistant also part of that acceptance. So I think this is where we need to spend a bit more time now, given that we've made some changes that to the acceptance on the previous slides. So I've noted down for issues 1, 2, and 4, we have some changes. A couple of them on option 1 for issue 1, which will change the score on here. So I think that our vote actually is going to change quite a bit for number 1. So issue 1, we had previously 5 out of 6, and then we had 2 reported as unacceptable. So that's going to take that down to 3 out of 6. For issue 2, we had 2 changes to option 2. Irrigators for issue 2 was the change to unacceptable for option 2 or 3. Let me go back to it here.
Option 2. Option 4 is actually unacceptable.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that would change for our issue 2. Our vote would come down to 50-50. Yeah. Okay, so no longer a majority for that item. So we have 3 out of 6 for both of those now. Okay, and then finally, one more change would be to number 4, option 3 was unacceptable. Now, by my count, that was down already as package C, which wouldn't have been a majority vote anyway. So I don't think that that changes. So I think we have option or package A is still in the running, where, but on more on par with package D. Now, if you see, I have highlighted in red where we have the governor's assistants not accepting option 1 and 3 for issue 2. If that is still accurate, then that would take those 2 packages out of the running, because we absolutely have to have the buy-in with the governor's assistant to move forward with the package. Can I get confirmation, governor's assistant? Is that still accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So by my count or quick analysis here, packages A and D would be the most likely scenario moving forward. But we don't have the majority votes and need to do some negotiating now to get those votes. So again, we are at, for issue number 1, I guess we can start there with the 3 out of 6, but without the tribe being represented on the call today, we need to, that potentially gives us the majority that we need. So can we do a quick show of hands now on package A, issue 1, just to make sure that we have majority for each of these items still. So do you find option 3 acceptable for issue 1? And let me see if I could find out how to do this. I think I have to go back to the participants to see the hands up. Okay, so I see 2. And that's all we have. All right, so that's going to be 2, 5. That's not going to work for issue 1. Okay, and for issue 2, go ahead and raise your hand. So I had previously 4 out of 6. It was down to 3 out of 6. Where do we have it now? Do you find option 2 acceptable for issue 2? Only 2 again. Okay. All right. And then issue 3, option 2. So go ahead and take your hands down and put them back up again. We'll confirm those votes. All right, so we have 3 here. So this would be 3 out of 5 now, which would constitute a majority. Okay. And then issue 4. Okay, we have 4. 4 out of 5. So definite majority there. Issue 4. Okay. And the, so option 3, the only difference between package A and D was with regards to issue 4 in option 1. And we've already gotten the majority for that. So I think at this point, we need to move into some negotiating here on issues 1 and 2. Okay, so again, we had acceptance by, do one more time so that I can get the hands. I apologize. Keeping notes and keeping track of the hands is a little more challenging than anticipated. All right, so we have environment and state. Okay, as the only 2. So everyone else is opposed. So in order to get to a majority on this call, we have to swing a vote here. Even though it's the best out of all the packages that we've developed. And let me just pause here, and because it's been rather quiet, except for the hand raising. You all see what I've done to try to facilitate the development of the package. Any comments on this method? Does it make sense given the feedback and confirmation of feedback on this call? Would you disagree with the packages that are listed, are composed on this particular slide? Okay, you can unmute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, looking at it now, I think option 3 for issue 1 is not really viable, since 2 are really unacceptable against it. So then I don't think we're gonna get a majority.
Okay, and I'm sorry, who was speaking? Was this the governor's
It was
assistant?
the Environment Recreation Coalition. But if I paid attention, I think irrigator and water suppliers were unacceptable for that option, I believe. But
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be helpful to meet somewhere in the middle for that option rather than kind of go to the extreme of option 3.
Okay.
I would agree. If the governor's assistant speaking, I would say that option 3 limits the future water supply, and I would just say that I think maybe option 2 is a better option for everybody to be in the middle.
Okay. So the switch from option 3 to option 2. I think I just heard 2 people agree just now on option 2. If we were to switch from in package A from option 3 to option 2, what would our vote look like? So again, show of hands. Let me get over to participants. Okay, so again, on the,
I had a quick question.
yes.
Would we be able to make some adjustments to option 2?
These are just my interpretation based off of the conversations I had previously with you all. So I'm open to what the team feels makes the most sense as far as a package moving forward. So if we can tweak, we can make some adjustments to the options with some concessions, or we can even switch the option. I mean, that's what we're here to do.
I'm on board for option 2 for issue 1, but then I want to first discuss other issues and their options before committing myself to being pro of issue 1, option 2.
Okay. Well, why don't you keep the floor then and bring up your concerns? So with you, we do have the majority with the people that we have on the call today. So we would have the 3 out of the 5. And let me just check one here. Yep, and the governor's special assistant as well. So let's go ahead and discuss any concerns or issues you have with option 2.
Well, my concern is that we still have to look. I think that if I want to accept this issue, I also want to look at the future development of other projects and the enforcement of other rules. Because since I really want option 3, but I don't think it's a viable option anymore, I really want to ensure that the needs that I see are really there are still heard, or at least it's not the flow goals are not getting any worse. So that's why I want to open a discussion again about issue 3 and issue 4 before accepting issue 1.
Okay, so then let's go ahead and hear what you have to say about issue 3 and 4. So we had the majority for 3 and 4. We were looking to gain a majority for issue 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think for 4 we had option 2 now, but for issue 3 I would really like to accept option 1 to condition all future projects, because if we accept option 2 for issue 1, we only do one thing, and that's focus on like protecting the substances fishery and not really looking at the entire ecosystem. So I think if we condition all future projects, we can look at how they conserve or protect or restore the river, and not just looking at the fishery, but also looking at the entire ecosystem. So that's why I think for issue 3, the first option is better than the second option.
Okay, so that would put our package, and let me see if I'm going to exit out of presenter mode for a second, so bear with me as I do this.
While you're doing that, I just want to alert the team. You're down to about 15 minutes. I
Thank
will
you.
come back in at 5 minutes as for your final time warning.
Okay, thank you.
Really quickly, I just wanted to say my concerns about option 1 for issue 3. I'm just concerned that it will limit the opportunities for growth and cause the land to devalue. So that's why I'm more towards option 2.
Okay, and that was the proposal we just had from environment, is to move from option 3 to option 2. Right. So so now I'm hearing acceptance also here. So let me take this. This isn't going to be the best way to do it, but I'm going to make another copy of this. All right, so this is going to be our A+. Okay, so we're moving, the proposal is to move to option 2 for issue 1. And then for issue 3, we propose making a change as well. Do I have that correct? Environment?
Can I say something again as a response to the governor? Because if we agree with option 2 for issue 1, then I think the only way we can really enact this issue is if we condition all future projects, because only then we can assess if all the new developments that are there will meet the condition we set at issue 1.
Okay, so if we choose condition all future projects for issue 3, future development, can I hear your perspective or feedback on issue 4, enforcement, and then us choosing option 2 it was. Do you agree with that or do you disagree with that?
Well, it's option 2 for issue 4, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you have, I agree.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think we should have the local input and then state enforcement to back it up. So I think option 2 is the best way to achieve that.
okay. So then if we do choose option 2 for issue 4, then I would go ahead and move with you on option 1 for issue 3.
I would also just like to say, as the representative of Fish and Wildlife, this new proposed, like, I guess, condition for both of these would also help with like our motives in protecting wildlife. With option 1 and issue 3, it'll just like require people to think about the way that they're affecting groundwater and surface water. And then option 2 for issue 4 would like bring inside people in as like a way to like just be mindful of like how they're affecting the environment, how they're affecting the wildlife. And I think that's really important when considering development.
Okay, thank you for that.
We agree as well. We'll support this.
Okay, so now again, with the note taking, help me make sure that I have these values set appropriately. So we have option 2 for issue 4. That stays. Correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Yep. And then for issue 3, because I heard that mentioned as well, is that staying as option 2 or are we changing that as well?
We're changing that one to option 1.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard. Yeah, thank you for that. Issue 2, option 2 stays the same. And then issue 1, we went from option 3 to option 2. So do I have that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can we are running out of time. Can I get a, so environment, you still have your hand up. Was there something else that you wanted to say? Nope. Okay. I'm going to go back to the participants list again and one more time. So now, do we have the 3 out of 5 majority for issue 1, option 2? See, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. Excellent. Thank you. So we're good there. We've got 5 out of 5. Okay. And then for issue 2, option 2, that remained, that was unchanged. But let's go ahead and take the vote anyway and see where we're at. So we have 3, 4. Okay. For issue 3, that was unchanged. Oh, that changed to option 1 now. So can we get a vote on option 1 for issue 3? Okay, we have 4. Excellent, thank you. Issue 4, option 2 for the last one. Okay. 4. So it looks like we have the consensus. And I wasn't keeping track of who all voted. So I invite Governor's Special Assistant. Any objection to package A plus?
No objections.
Okay. All right, great. Have we heard from everybody at this point? I think we have the majority for each of these now and for the package as a whole. All right, let me go back into presentation mode. And we have 8 more minutes. Okay, so we've utilized our time for number 5, and then concluding remarks. So next step. So thank you all for your thoughts and contributions in coming to a consensus. We will be generating meeting minutes from today's call and sending those out via email by Friday, tomorrow. Everyone, again, as a reminder, will be responsible for taking whatever agreement we reach today on package A plus back to your organization for final approval. You were added to the team as empowered representatives for your organization, so any agreements made on the call today are expected to remain in place. Obviously, things can happen, questions can arise. I ask if that does happen that you notify me immediately so we have some time to meet if we have to quickly to regain consensus. The action plan will be drafted and distributed for final review and approval by Monday, with the expectation to have it signed by end of day Wednesday, October 25th. So those will be our next steps and path forward. Any other questions or comments before we adjourn? No?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you everybody for your time today. Much appreciated.
Very good. Let's do a debrief. You finished before time. I was afraid you were going to run out of time, guys. But you finished 5 minutes before the hour. Okay. Let's talk about a couple things. First, Tom, tell me your final count. Did you get unanimity on all 4 issues, or tell me your final counts on these?
We got and I've practiced saying the word and I can't do it. We did not get a unanimous vote. I'll say it that way for 3 of the issues.
What did you get? Did you get majority?
Yes, absolutely. So because today we just have the 5, we got 5 out of 5 for issue 1. So we did have the unanimous vote on that. And then we had 4 out of 5 for the remaining issues 2 through 4.
Okay. All right. So unanimous on issue 1. Is that correct? Did I hear you correctly?
Yes.
And then on the remaining issues, it was majority.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about this. All right. So you had to do a little bit of horse trading, right? And so some of you should have felt a little bit of conflict as an individual representative of trying to compromise, trying to get what you wanted, to maximize what you wanted, as well as, you know, trying to make sure the project goes forward. And that's very typical on environmental projects where you have to, you know, what your goal is, but at the same time, you have to know what your bottom is, what your bottom line is in terms of unacceptable. And many times what happens is people who are in these real world situations don't always compromise. And so we've got a lot of stalemated policies in environmental sustainability because of this. But let me tell you, there was only 2 ways. There was only 2 ways you could get unanimity on all of the issues. And usually on the other issues, the irrigators would vote no. Did that happen here? Who voted no on the majority only? Was it our irrigators? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the irrigators and often the tribal nation are the no votes on the ones that are not unanimous. So, you know, we have to understand when we're working on these kinds of projects, the diversity of people that come to play, the diversity of positions, the diversity of race, ideology, and you got a chance actually to do that today. Tom was very organized. All of you were very organized, and remember, I warned my students that you had to come prepared because otherwise you won't get through. And so, Tom, kudos to you as the leader, and kudos to all of the participants today. So, you know, Tom very quickly did this, and I want to give a name to it: the zone of possible agreement. He laid it out visually. Okay, not all the leaders do that in the games, in our history of these games. So it was visually it was read what was unacceptable to what group. Okay, that made this go much more smoothly for you. And you got right to the issues, what was unacceptable and what your zone of possible agreement was as individual participants. Okay, and that's what we wanted for this game. That's the output that we were hoping. And this game specifically is to pay attention to process. And Tom really structured that from the get-go. And so process is key in making sure that each of you have a vote, each of you get heard, and each of you compromise so that the project can move forward. So very good. Very, very, very good. Dr. Eduardo? Let me see if he's, do you want to say something, Dr. Eduardo?
Yes, yes. First, I would like to say congratulations to Tom. He did a great job as a mediator and preparing this material, these slides, and change it dynamically according to the opinions, the votes of everybody. You really did a great job. You made the game way more dynamic in terms of time. So since the time is always strict, like for less than 60 minutes, then you could make it in even less than 60 minutes. So the slides helped a lot. And as Dr. Tizumi mentioned, the presentation makes it visual. So you have the background of your presentation. Gives a different makes we watch it in a different way. I mean, it adds something to the discussions, to the to the mood of the meeting. So great, congratulations, Tom, and congratulations also to everyone that
Absolutely.
came here today.
Yeah, the team made the difference, as Professor said, that they were also prepared. So it was nice to see them coming in prepared to and willing to be able to make a concession or to propose a way around the hurdle that they themselves have presented. So
and so the takeaway is that when we get to these very problematic, and my students are going to read more about this in the upcoming weeks. When we get into environmental justice communities, when we get into communities that have competing goals, that it's really important that if you're ever a leader or a participant in this kind of situation, that you understand what is your zone of possible agreement. Instead of focusing on what is unacceptable or maximizing, the upper floor and the lower floor, where can you agree in the middle? And we forget that. Look at our politics, U.S. students. We forget that. We forget and we focus on the extreme polar end. So this is a really good simulation game for you to think about how can we do something instead of how do I get what I want for my position. And let me say something too, Tom. Dr. Eduardo and I have played these many, many, many times, these games. This is the first time we've had a game that had slides ready to go, correct, Dr. Eduardo?
Yes.
Every game is different. We've played 40 of these things. Every student does it differently. Oh. Okay, this is the first time we've had, right, Dr. Eduardo? First time.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for that feedback, and thank you, team.
All right, guys, I'm going to head off. You got done early and you got unanimity on one and majority on the other three. That is a success. You should be very proud of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile these. It takes me some time. I will compile these and I will post them on D2L. And there is a discussion board for my students where you have to compare across them. Because you're going to see when you view the other teams, everybody is different. Every team does this differently. Dr. Eduardo, what would you like to say?
Oh, I mean, that's it. Thank you. Thank you so much for participating in your engagement. It was a really good game today. And well, and also nice to meet you all. It's the first time we're seeing you. So yes. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, very good, guys. We're going to sign off and great game. This is a real example of how it can be done below an hour. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.